Hello, I'm deep in the reads, and I'm doing the Booktube Newbie tag today. I bet you've never seen that one before, but anyway, let's get right into it. Question number 1. Why did you start this channel? Well, I definitely wouldn't have started this channel if it wasn't for my friend Nick over at Nick Knack's Corner. He and I used to work together at Home Depot, and we reconnected like a couple years later, and he had started a Booktube channel and a Discord server, and when he invited me to the Discord server, I found it was a lot of fun to talk about books with other people. I spent like a couple years there, and then I slowly started to consider doing a channel myself. And it's not something that I want to commit to the same extent as other booktubers do or whatever, but I figured I might as well try my hand at it, and I see a lot of the same books getting covered, so I thought it might be fun to sort of delve into more obscure books as I go, and that can kind of be my niche contribution to the genre of YouTuber. Question 2. What are some of the fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? A lot of people tend to stick to like one or two things. Like on Booktube you see a lot of people doing like either young adult or fantasy or classics, and I kind of am a muddle of everything. I just switch from, I usually don't read the same kind of book twice in a row. Like just in the last year I've read I've read like popular genre fiction too, but I've also read like communist feminist theory, and I've read long form biography, and I've read religious and spiritual texts, and graphic novels and manga, and Victorian era philosophy, and like epic poetry from ancient Rome. So I'm kind of all over the place, and I think when my Booktube channel starts to reflect what I'm reading, that in itself will be kind of, I don't know, weird, because I really don't have a niche in it. I'm kind of curious to see what a scatterbrained reader like myself will be like in this kind of platform. Question number 3. What are you most excited about with this new channel? Well, after I get a few reviews posted of more popular books or well-known books, I would like to jump into more obscure books, or books in categories that I don't normally see people cover on here. Like, I have a minor in art history, and I'd really like to do some art books or some art theory books, or something like that, or like non-fiction history books. I'm a crazy history reader, so I'd like to try and cover those as well. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm most excited for, is like putting a spotlight on books that I think should get more attention that don't. And maybe, hopefully, the goal is to like introduce people to things that they haven't thought about trying before, or expanding people's horizons, as opposed to just, you know, doing the same type of book over and over again, you know. Question 4. Why do you love reading? I like to learn and think about different worldviews, and I think one of the best ways to do that is through reading books. And although a lot of people say that books are like a doorway into another world and they're escapist or whatever, I think that in a lot of ways they also help you come to an understanding about the world that you actually live in. And I think that even things that claim to be escapist fantasy, the author's worldview and the social constructs that they're living in seep into the book. You know, you can learn a lot about the time and the place and the mindset that the author was writing from. Even if they're trying to write like someone else, they're usually commentating on the way that other people think, which I always find that interesting. And yeah, I also like engaging with books that I don't agree with, which I'm going to be doing hopefully on this channel as well, which is like bringing books that I disagree with very fundamentally on an ideological level and engaging with them. And that's kind of what I like, is like forming a dialogue between myself and the author, and sort of, it's kind of like brain food, and that's kind of why reading appeals to me so much. Like, it forces me to consider a lot of ideas that I might not otherwise be exposed to. Question number 5. What book or series got you into reading? Well, I'm sure you can guess. It's a book series, a very popular children's book series about kids entering a world of magic where anything is possible. And I'm talking, of course, of Captain Underpants. Question number 6. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? And this is where we kind of run into a snag, because I don't really know what to ask anybody other than, how dare you? Question 7, what challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be hardest to overcome? Consistent uploading, undoubtedly. I think that if I were to do, or if I were to commit to like consistent uploading, I would very quickly lose any interest in reading. Like once it felt like an obligation, it would suck all the interest right out of it. I'm not gonna sweat it or commit to anything, so if you're looking for a booktuber who is like very consistent, I'm sorry, I'm not that guy. So I'm gonna be incredibly sporadic. I might stop posting for a few months, or maybe I'll post a few things really quickly over a short period, or maybe I'll have a little period where I'm fairly consistent and do like once a month or something. I don't know. Like, there's mood readers, so I'll be a mood booktuber. How's that? Question 8. When did you start reading? When I learned to read. I don't know when exactly. I was young. 9. Where do you like to read? My couch. It's right over there. 10. What kind of books do you like to read? As I mentioned before, my reading choices are kind of all over the place, but I do have my go-tos in addition to the weird stuff that I normally read. For fiction, it's literary fiction, so books like Grapes of Wrath, The Bell Jar, One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, that kind of thing. Like books that are grounded in reality, that deal with real-world problems, that focus on character and prose and all those literary things. Then for nonfiction, I like history, especially narrative history. So for example, some books that I like a lot are A People's Tragedy by Orlando Figes, The Rape of Nanking by Iris Chang, and Rubicon by Tom Holland. When it comes to history, I'm really into revolutions and oppression. So like people power versus like ultimate dictator power and sort of those struggles like that. But yeah, I also, like I said, my reading is all over the place. I'm open to try absolutely anything, whether it's, you know, romance or sci-fi or fantasy. As long as it's good, as long as I like it, you know what I mean? Yeah. Question 11 is, show your book collection. Do I really have to? Okay. So to start off with, let me just focus this. We have a bunch of art books. I went to art school and I'm really into art history and art theory, which I know it sounds probably pretty pretentious, but I'm way into art. And so a couple of these are textbooks and course materials, like that photography one and the 2 spirally coiled ones are both, they're all course material. And a lot of these I got for free or as gifts. Like that world mythology one I got from what my university calls the love dumpster, which is where people drop off their used whatever and other people can come and take it home with them. Yay! So yeah, I lucked out with a lot of these. Like that Marc Chagall one, I got that from a discard pile, which was amazing because that book is like $80 normally and it's like 1,400 pages. It's like everything you could ever want to know about a Russian folk painter. Here is my main bookshelf. It's 3 levels, and the first level and a half are fiction. The second level and a half are non-fiction. So yeah, like non-fiction from here over, and this, and then the rest is like, yeah, fiction. But let's get a close-up, shall we? So get in here, and there's the fiction, and there's a Planet Earth DVD. Yeah, the stuff that I put on top is kind of like miscellaneous again. But yeah, most of it is literary fiction. There's some postmodern and surrealist fiction as well. There's classics, and there's a few genre fiction things as well, like Lewis Carroll being fantasy, Isaac Asimov being right up there. Mario Puzo's crime, The Terror and the Ruins are horror. Yeah, so it's a mix of everything. And down here, there's a few more things. Steinbeck over there, like a bunch of his books. He's probably my favorite author. My favorite fiction author, I should say. And then yeah, we start getting into the history. And then down here, other history books. There's some stuff like that whole first half of the shelf is like all revolving around World War II in some way. But then there's like the Vertigo years, which is like the first 15 years of the 1900s. Over here we got some like Russian and Soviet related stuff. And then there's some like American stuff like Vietnam War, War in the Middle East, War on Terror, that kind of thing. Just kind of all over the place. And I have a few more books sort of in a cubby somewhere else. Let me show those as well. Alright, so this is the last of my books that I have here. These 4 cubbies are all film. I'm really into movies, or I used to be. I don't watch them as often as I used to. And then over here are the books. Those are like biography. That's a biography. That's political ideology. That's microhistory. These 2 are religious books. China, horror, and these are all philosophy right here. I want to highlight this. This is a 3-volume biography on Martin Luther King and the Civil Rights Movement during his lifetime. And I've gotten really, like, I didn't mention it earlier, but the Civil Rights Movement is quickly becoming one of my favorite periods in history to read about. And Parting the Waters won the Pulitzer Prize for biography in, I think, 1987, and it's so worth reading. Oh my god, it was so good. The Power Broker also won the Pulitzer Prize, and that one was really good as well. I have way more books than I've shown here, but they are all at my parents' house. I have, like, all of Stephen King's books in first edition, or a lot of his books in first edition. I have a lot of Goosebumps books, a lot of fucking Harry Potter. All the stuff I read as a kid is basically at my parents' house. But yeah, this is what I have here. So that shelf, and the art books over there. And yeah, that's my book collection. Yay! Everybody can go home now.